Welcome back to The Deep Dive. Today, we are settling in for a really fascinating look beneath the perfectly starched facade of mid-century America. We're analyzing Jennifer Niven's remarkable novel, Meet the Newmans.
Yeah, and it's set in such a pivotal moment in time.
Exactly, 1964. The dust from the JFK assassination is still settling, and all of a sudden, that glossy black and white world of wholesome family TV, it starts to look, well, unbearably square.
Fundamentally dishonest, even. And that's where we meet the Newman family. Dell, Dinah, and their sons, Guy and Shep.
And they occupy this fascinating paradox, right? They're a real family living this privileged LA life.
But they're also the stars of this huge, long-running TV show. I mean, for 23 years, starting on radio, they sold this manufactured ideal to America.
And so our mission today is to go far behind the cameras. We want to uncover the critical pressure points, the secret lives, the brutal network threats, and just the deep existential dread that led to the near implosion of this supposedly perfect family.
The central question is, what happens when the characters you play just stop matching who you really are?
Let's unpack it. This collision between the 1950s dream and the reality of the emerging 1960s.
To really get the intensity of the collapse, you first have to understand the sheer weight of the Newman brand. It was the epitome of wholesome.
Built on a format that was so predictable it was almost comforting.
Right. Dell, the patriarch, he was the creative motor. Wrote it, directed it, starred in it, and the plot was always the same. Dell creates some minor trouble.
Dinah provides a homemade meal and some impeccable advice.
And the boys, Guy and Shep, are just unfailingly polite and clean-cut. It was a formula that worked for 12 years on TV.
The genius of it, and I guess the tragedy of it too, is that they convinced America they were a time capsule. This world of stable values that really maybe only ever existed on a Hollywood soundstage.
And the reality, as we see right away, was just crumbling from the inside.
Yeah.
And it really starts with the supposed heart of the home, Dinah.
Dinah is. She's such a tragic figure at the beginning of this story.
She is. She has this certain realization that she's 43, not 42. And that tiny detail, it just symbolizes her total loss of self.
She is completely trapped by this perfect wife myth that she didn't just perform, she actively helped create.
Yeah, the book points to this article she wrote for Lee's Home Journal called The Secrets to a Happy Marriage. And the rules she lays out,
they're a blueprint for self-annihilation. It's behavioral control. Always smile, be freshly dressed for your husband, listen attentively, but don't chatter about your own day.
And the most damning one, remember who's in charge. It makes it explicit that the husband's decision is absolute.
That's the iron cage of her public persona. But her private reality is, well, it's something else entirely.
It's one of profound psychological distress. She tells the family doctor, Dr. Burke, that she feels a great yawning void, a numbness.
This isn't just sadness. This is the consequence of spending decades prioritizing a profitable ideal over her own authentic self.
Which leads to her unforgettable fantasy life involving the neighbor.
Oh, this part is incredible. The juxtaposition is perfect. Dinah, America's sweetheart, standing at our window, smoking a secret cigarette.
An act of rebellion in itself for her.
Totally. And she's watching Tad, the neighbor, mow his lawn.
And the fantasy is both hilarious and shocking. She imagines marching over there and riding him like, well, a lawnmower.
She knows this fantasy could just blow up everything she and Dell built. But that's the thrill, isn't it? The thought of that destruction is the only thing that makes her feel something real.
Exactly. It punctures the numbness. And you see the physical evidence of this crumbling marriage right in their own home.
They've been sleeping apart for a month.
A whole month. Dell's moved into his office, onto a fold-out couch. Even their sons don't know. The emotional chasm is just that wide. America's favorite couple can't even stand to share a bed.
Which means we have to look at Dell's breakdown, too, because Dinah's suffocation was definitely mirrored by Dell's inability to breathe under the weight of his own creation.
He's 45, and the burden of writing, directing, producing, and starring is just crushing him. He's suddenly feeling his age because his kind of entertainment is becoming obsolete.
And this is more than just a ratings slump. It's an existential crisis. I mean, Meet the Newmans finished 47th out of 108 shows.
For a show that once defined the top tier of TV, that is devastating. But it's who is beating him that really adds to the humiliation.
Right. He's losing to a dolphin.
A dolphin, a collie, and a man from outer space. Flipper, Lassie, and My favorite Martian.
So it's not just a ratings crisis, it's a cultural shift. The world is moving from his kind of character-driven story to these high-concept premises.
And Dell, with his, Will Rogers sensibility, he's just being left behind. He's irrelevant.
And then on top of this professional collapse, he gets this terrifying threat from his past.
Yeah, this ominous 5-word telegram shows up at the studio. I need to see you.
No signature.
No signature. But Dell instantly knows who sent it. And that's what's so terrifying. It implies a past so hidden that just the sender's existence sends him reeling. And they found him easily. He feels completely exposed.
It's a ticking time bomb aimed right at the fake, wholesome roots he invented for himself.
So with the parents cracking, it's no surprise the sons are living these intense double lives. Let's start with Shep, the younger son. He's almost 18.
He's the family's teen idol, a commodity, but also a legitimate rock star. His record is number 6, right behind the Beatles. That's real power.
But also intense pressure. He sees himself as this strange hybrid man-boy creature who is completely owned and produced by his dad and CBS.
So his rebellion is quiet at first, but it's profound. His real passion is this music that's searing and soulful, way ahead of its time.
Yeah, like Carl Perkins or Son House, a universe away from the saccharine pop that CBS makes him record.
And his inner refuge is so intellectual, which I love. He carries Kerouac's on the road everywhere.
He identifies with those lines about feeling like a ghost or a stranger. The irony is just, it's so striking. America's most famous kid feels like a lonely beatnik.
And his physical rebellions are all aimed at his dad. He smokes just to piss off his dad. He rides a motorcycle.
And later we find out the full extent of it. He'd experimented with LSD, which, get this, he found in his father's hidden stash.
Wow.
And he lost his virginity at 14.
Yep.
He admits the line between drugs and girls just blurred until he was basically running away from himself.
The hypocrisy is just monumental. Then you have Guy, the older son, 22.
On the surface, he's the straight, dependable one, but he's carrying this immense baggage from his awkward teen years, the acne, the self-consciousness about his weight.
He's so anxious that he needs Valium from the makeup artist just to hit his marks on set.
Because Guy is living this necessary, terrifying lie. He's in a committed, loving relationship with his roommate, Kelly Faber, who's a film actor.
And you have to remember the time, 1964, exposure would mean the end of their careers. It could mean criminal charges.
The little details are what make their secret world so real. They wear these gold and silver rings on their right hands.
A silent pledge, hidden in plain sight.
And their public life is this meticulously constructed ruse. They're bachelors on the loose. They have to take celebrity dates like Natalie Wood, or always bring a third guy with them when they go out. It's exhausting.
So the family's already cracked, and then the network boss, James T. Aubrey, just brings down a sledgehammer. Enter the smiling cobra.
Aubrey is the embodiment of ruthless corporate efficiency, a rakish man of 45 with this hard-cutting smile. He got the nickname because he was famous for firing people with just 2 words. You're through.
And he's all about the bottom line. He boasts about raising CBS profits from $25 million to nearly $50 million.
So he wastes no time. He brings Dell in and delivers the ultimatum. Kodak, the main sponsor, is pulling out of the finale. The show is done.
And he's just cruel about it. Tells Dell his ratings are in the toilet and that he'd be better off hoping for Jane Mansfield to fall from the sky than getting a renewal.
The contempt he has for Dell's vision is just palpable. He calls Dell slow and expensive, because it takes them 5 days to film an episode when the standard is 2 or 3.
And this is where the professional crisis and the personal secrets just collide in this shocking way.
Yeah. To deal with the rumors about Guy and Kelly rumors, Aubrey had already paid Confidential magazine to kill. He demands a real-life, immediate marriage.
Between Guy and his on-screen fiancée, Eileen Weld.
His justification is just brutally cynical. Presto Chongo, no more rumors.
Yeah.
The order is non-negotiable. Eileen has to move in, Kelly has to move out.
And he brings up the Raymond Burr scandal as a warning.
He does. He reminds Dell how Burr, the star of Perry Mason, had to invent this whole fake backstory, dead wives, a dead son, to hide his real life, and how he, Aubrey, had to personally intervene.
It's a terrifying threat. He's basically saying, comply or I will let you be publicly ruined. It's not just about manipulating their lives, it's about threatening to erase their dignity.
Guy and Eileen are, of course, appalled. Guy manages to say that they're actual people with actual feelings, but Dell just silences him with a look.
Aubrey doesn't care. He just waves his cigar. Human emotion is just an inconvenience to the balance sheet.
And then he twists the knife. He warns them that television is moving to color. Their black and white show is a relic. He ends the meeting by declaring, "I'm the fucking iceberg."
Leaving Del and Dinah feeling like they're on the Titanic.
And we have to talk about Eileen Weld here. The 19-year-old actress. She's not a pushover.
No, she's fiercely independent. Her life rule is never get yourself trapped. She sees marriage as the end of a woman's freedom.
So she is not going to go along with this forced wedding plot quietly. She understands the cage Dinah has lived in, even at her young age.
And then the ultimate catalyst, the thing that finally forces real change, Del's car crash.
He plows his car right into a palm tree in Santa Monica, miles from where he should have been. The location alone is suspicious.
He's put into a medically induced coma, and their manager, Sydney Weiss, immediately goes into damage control.
He fabricates this cover story that Del flew east to care for his sick mother. A mother who, by the way, died back in 1951.
It's a calculated lie to buy them time, and it thrusts Dinah into the driver's seat. For the first time, she's running the show, trying to secure sponsors, all without Del's name as a shield.
And this is where her perfect wife persona just shatters against the reality of the male-dominated corporate world of 1964.
The humiliation is immediate. Executives don't listen to her ideas. They treat her like a piece of meat, just staring at her legs, her breasts.
That line from Mr. Frigidaire is just so perfect and awful. He dismisses her with, "Sorry, sweetheart."
She is furious. She realizes her value to them isn't in her brain, it's just in her packaged sexual appeal.
But that fury, that incandescent anger, leads to this unexpected moment of female solidarity.
With Mrs. Sunbeam.
Right, the wife of the West Coast, president of Sunbeam. She pulls Dinah aside and apologizes for the Neanderthalic, uninspired bastards in this town.
And she thanks Dinah for the show, for providing this wholesome escape. It's a crucial moment. Dinah realizes the power of the female consumer base. She's found her first real ally.
But all the while, the mystery of Del's accident is eating at her. She's convinced he has a mistress named M. Leslie, based on his bank statements.
Which leads her to the address in Santa Monica, and to her humiliating low point.
It's spectacular. America's favorite housewife climbing through thorny bushes to peep into a window, getting arrested by the sheriff for being a peeping Tom.
The absurdity of it is what finally shatters her old image completely.
And it's against this backdrop of total collapse that she meets Juliet Dunn, the reporter from the LA Times.
Juliet initially tries to blindside her, right?
She does. She comes in armed with the language of the new feminist movement. She asks Dinah about the problem that has no name from Betty Friedan's work.
She talks about the housewife syndrome, which was being labeled a mental disorder.
Dinah gets angry, snaps off the recorder. But Juliet leaves behind a copy of The Feminine Mystique.
And that's the real turning point. She reads it in one sitting and feels like the words were lifted from her own private thoughts.
It gives her the language for her own emptiness. And Juliet, seeing that Dinah is more than she appears, reaches out. They forge this unlikely, powerful writing partnership.
They decide not just to save the show, but to revolutionize it.
Which leads to them organizing a spontaneous consciousness-raising group right there in the Newman living room.
It includes some of the supporting cast, like Peggy, who plays a ditz but has a master's in math.
And Juliet's friend, Renee Otero, a designer and activist. And the conversation they have is just, it's so radical for 1964.
They talk about the pill, how it's only available to married women with a husband's permission. They talk about abortion, Lucille Ball.
And Renee provides this crucial critique, pointing out that the feminine mystique focuses mostly on white middle-class women, and that discrimination affects all women.
And the emotional climax of all this is the swimming scene.
Oh, it's pure liberation. Fueled by wine and solidarity, Dinah suggests they all go swimming in Toluca Lake.
8 women, stripping down to their underwear. Even Flora, the formal housekeeper, walks right into the water in her pressed uniform.
That image of Flora letting go, it just confirms that the change is irreversible. Dinah realizes she's not drowning anymore. She's finally electrically alive.
So, in the middle of all this, Del wakes up from his coma, and Dinah confronts him. This is their moment of reckoning.
She doesn't hold back. She throws the bank statement, the house deed right onto his hospital bed and demands to know about his love net.
He's prepared for the worst.
And Del finally reveals his secret. M. Leslie isn't a mistress. It's Matthew Leslie, his estranged father.
Wow.
The entire wholesome backstory he'd manufactured, the theater-owning parents, it was all a lie. His mother was a runaway. He had a terrible falling out with his dad. He was ashamed of where he came from.
So the trip to Santa Monica wasn't for an affair.
It was to visit his stubborn, stoic father. He was trying to reconcile his past in secret, terrified the truth would destroy the whole Newman brand.
That moment of truth-telling, it's so profound. It finally clears the air between them. Their real marriage finally has a chance to begin,
And with Dell recovering, Guy has to step up. He takes over directing.
which must have been terrifying for him. But Kelly's there, supporting him, building his confidence.
The real challenge comes when Dell returns to the set and immediately tries to take back control, barking
And the
directions.
guy stands up to him. He says, "I've already given my actress direction." It's a huge moment for him. He's establishing the new order.
Meanwhile, Shep has his own explosion. He gives this raw, unfiltered interview to Life magazine for his 18th birthday.
He admits everything, the drugs, the sex, his real musical ambitions. He basically tells the whole country everybody thinks they have their shit together, but they don't.
Aubrey calls it a grenade hurled on a stockpile of ammunition. But Shep has power now with his hit record.
And Dinah, embracing this new honesty, bypasses Dell and gives Shep permission to write a new song for the finale. She trusts him.
And amidst all this, the new generation is also finding love. Shep and Eileen, the reluctant bride, they start dating.
But it's complicated. Eileen reveals she's pregnant by someone else.
And Shep's reaction is just so poignant. He looks at her, sees all this beautiful, messy chaos, and tells himself, I think I love you. He's embracing a real, complicated future, not a clean Hollywood ending.
All of this culminates in the radical script Dinah and Juliet write for the live finale.
It's designed to be the definitive break. Dinah's character tells her sons, I am not your hausfrau anymore, and literally hands over her apron.
But they don't leave Dell's character behind. He has this moment of realizing that he too has been living in a prison, just a different kind. The show is finally achieving honesty.
But the absolute boundary-breaking climax, the moment that secures the show's legacy, is Dinah's final move.
The cameras are rolling live, 40 million people are watching, and Dinah, the character, breaks the fourth wall.
She looks right into the lens and speaks for every woman in America. She quotes Betty Friedan, but with a punch. You don't get an orgasm from shining the kitchen floor. But my God, I feel like I'm having one now.
And then she takes off her signature pearls, puts them in Dell's hand, and just sashays off the set to start a new job at a newspaper.
The network panics. Aubrey is furious, calls it feminism bullshit, threatens to pull the broadcast.
But the sponsor wives, led by Mrs. Sunbeam, are in the audience. They are profoundly moved. They love it.
And that female solidarity, that audience power, is what saves it. Sunbeam steps in and fully sponsors the revolutionary finale. It's a stunning victory for Dinah.
What's so fascinating is that this final episode, it wasn't just a TV moment. It was this real-time collision of a personal family crisis and this huge cultural change, all broadcast live.
The show, Meet the Newmans, might have been canceled. But the Newmans, as a family, they finally began to live their authentic lives.
And we get that beautiful glimpse 5 years later in 1969.
Yeah, an era of counterculture and shifting norms. Dell and Dinah are retired in a bungalow in Laguna Beach, focus on their real marriage.
Guy and Kelly are living in the Hollywood Hills. Guy is a sought-after TV director now, and Kelly, unwilling to play the straight man anymore, has moved behind the scenes. He's a producer, hiring blacklisted artists.
And they've adopted 2 children. They've built their own family, but tragically, they still have to hide their sexuality, raising the kids as single fathers. A tiny step forward that just shows how far there was still to go.
And Chef and Eileen are thriving, married, with kids, continuing their music, and the song Shep wrote for the finale, it becomes a huge hit.
The lyrics, she is every color as she shines, but she belongs to no one, becomes an anthem for the new, liberated woman.
In the end, Dinah looks around her new, messy, real family dinner table and realizes the show hasn't been canceled at all.
It's still going on, she says, only there are more of us now. The real Newman family drama wasn't the show. It was a continuous act of living an honest life.
It really speaks to that universal tension, doesn't it? Between the self we construct for the outside world, the social media profile, the corporate demeanor, and the messy, complicated self we keep hidden.
Exactly. They had to go through all of that, a coma, network threats, public humiliation, before they could drop the act and finally truly connect.
And that's the takeaway, I think. Becoming authentic requires this radical, messy collision with the truth.
It certainly does.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you, our listener. In a world where we are constantly curating that perfect public image, what would it take for you to shed the costume of expectation and embrace the radical, messy truth of who you really are? What personal iceberg would you have to confront? Something to mull over as you think about what secrets you might be keeping just to maintain your own perfect black and white facade.